Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is International Master Shyam the Mandarin, aka Houdinevich, and today I'm very excited to present to you my new series called Wax On Wax Off Wednesdays. In this series, I assume no prior knowledge of chess. My aim is to take a complete beginner and give them some knowledge of this wonderful game. Today we're going to start with the coordinates, and before we get into the details, I just want to talk a little bit about the inspiration for this series. I'm a big fan of the Karate Kid trilogy. There are three movies in the 80s that I've always watched since I was a kid. I love rewatching them, and they have some iconic scenes. And in the first Karate Kid movie, there's an iconic scene where the teacher, Mr. Miyagi, gets his student to do chores like washing the car and waxing it. And the point is that the student didn't understand, but these annoying, sort of tedious tasks actually gave him a deep understanding of karate. And so similarly, I want to make sure I cover all the fundamentals. They may not be so fun, but over time you'll see why they're essential for you to be a good chess player. So the board is what we're going to talk about today, and the coordinates. It's actually a fascinating subject. It has a pretty rich history that I know very little about. But I'm actually curious to learn more about it. Starting with the fact that why do we have an 8x8 board? You can imagine a 10x10 or a smaller than 8x8 board. That's a great question. I don't know the answer, but somehow they ended up with 8x8, and that results in 64 squares. And then the other curious thing is that you don't necessarily need a checkered board, meaning you don't need two colors for the squares. You can just have one color, which is how it is in Go. In Go, it's just the pieces are on the middle in the intersection of the squares, and that's just one color for the entire board. And even in chess, you don't actually need two colors. You can just have one color, and the game works exactly the same way. I think it's easier on the mind and on the eyes to have this aesthetic effect of two colors. So the chessboard is, this is your battlefield. You need to be very familiar with and comfortable with. It's really, you can think about it as geometry or geography of the chessboard. There's different areas, and we'll get into more of that when we introduce the pieces in the next lesson. But today I really want to stick to the squares and talk about notation. So there's two major notations. One, which is most popular and which is pretty much used everywhere, is the algebraic notation. So that's what I'm going to spend most of my time on today. And I'm going to show you a tool on Lichess that allows you to train these your memorization of the squares, and you do need to memorize this. It's absolutely essential, and I put in time when I was learning chess to do this, and it was a huge help. And I'll show you how to do that. But before we go to before we go to algebraic notation, there's another one called descriptive notation, and that was the notation that was used up until 1981 when FIDE, which is the International Chess Organization, ruled out descriptive, and only algebraic was allowed to be used in tournaments. So that's really important to note that while if you're starting chess now, all you'll see is algebraic, for the large majority of chess history, descriptive notation was the one that was used. There's a lot of reasons for why this change was made, and I'll include two Wikipedia links about these two notations in the description, so be sure to check that out. And also I'll include the scenes to the Karate Kid movies if you haven't seen them in the description as well. So and one more thing about algebraic notation is a lot of great chess books are in descriptive notation. So for example, Lasker's Manual of Chess, which I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from for this series. Emmanuel Asker was the second, Dr. Emmanuel Asker. He had a PhD in mathematics, and he published original research. He's arguably the greatest chess player of all time. He was the world champion for 27 years, which is a record that hasn't been broken. He was a second world champion, and he was an absolutely original thinker, very modern. There's an interview by Vladimir Kramnik where he speaks very highly of Emmanuel Asker. But I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information. As I said, I assume no knowledge of chess, but yeah, this history just gets me very excited. Chess has a fascinating history. So getting back to the matter at hand, descriptive notation is used in this book, Lasker's Manual of Chess, and it's also used in this book, 200 Open Games, which is a book by David Bronstein. And apparently this was Garry Kasparov's, the 13th world champion. This is the first book he ever read, and it's one of his favorites. And it definitely is a great book. But my point is that it's useful to know both notations. So today I'll just cover algebraic notation because that's what you need to just get started. But it is useful to know descriptive notation as well, and I can go over that in a future video. So how do we name the squares? So that's what we're going to talk about, the coordinates. There's two things. There's files, which are the you can call the columns, and then there's the ranks, which you can call the rows. And the columns are lettered. So this is the the files are lettered. So this is the A file, the B file, the C file, D file, E file, F file, G file, and the H file. And this is what we call the first rank. So it goes up to 8, the second rank, third rank, up to 7th, the 7th rank, and the 8th rank. And then each square is named by its file and then its rank. So this would be A1, A2, A3 up to A8. And then this would be B1, B2 up to B8. And this would be H1, H2, H3 up to H8. And that's pretty much it. That's the algebraic notation. And your homework is to try this tool on leadchess.org. So if you don't have a LeadChess account already, I highly recommend you get one. It's completely free. LeadChess itself is a fascinating project. It's completely open source, 100% free. It's driven purely by donations, and it's really a remarkable piece of software and the power of a community. So yeah, as you've seen in my videos, I love using LeadChess, and they have this tool. I'll include this link as well in the description under Learn Coordinates. So as they say, knowing the chessboard coordinates is a very important chess skill. Most chess courses and exercises use the algebraic notation extensively. Makes it easier to talk to your chess friends since you both understand the language of chess. So absolutely, if you watch a YouTube stream, a YouTube video or a Twitch stream, they're going to be using the squares and the coordinates and the pieces. So you absolutely need to be comfortable with this. I know people that are actually quite good. I've played them. They're friends of mine. They're very good at, they have a good understanding of chess, but they struggle with the squares. So it is important that you get this done early, because maybe once you start, you're going to be too interested in other parts of chess and think, why go back and learn it? So this is definitely worthwhile. Yeah, so today I'll go over one run of this video, and then you can try for yourself. So as you can see, I've memorized that was the mouse slip, meant to click on D3, but just as I was about to say, you can see I'm very good at this. I don't need to think about it, but for you, you're going to want to go a bit slower. So F5, at the start, you can count up to F and then go up to 5. This is the G file, the third square, and then E1 would be there. So that's it. Wanted to keep this video short and sweet. Don't want to overwhelm you, but I'll provide a bunch of links in the description, and definitely please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think, and yeah, I'll see you next Wednesday. Make sure you subscribe so you'll get a notification. And tomorrow I'm going to be launching a new series. So far I've showed everyone else's games, but I think it's about time that I show a game of my own. So I'm excited for that. So definitely stay tuned for a new video tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.